It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show. And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan, and I want you all to stay tuned, share. I want you all to comment. I want you all to tell me what's going on. I got with me a man who's gave me some insight, but we're gonna talk about things that's going on here in this country. Talk about the actual plight and the how can we make education great again for our youth. We're talking about how make America great again, but our education is pivotal. The teachers are needed. The village. You on the phone call. We dialing the village right now. Education is on an all-time low. People are quitting, and people need help. Well, God, we man give his opinion. The one and only Mr. Tyrell Broughton. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Doing good. Glad to have you here at the Logan Power Show. Want to get straight to it. Education. We know the pandemic hit 2020 of last year. For everybody knows, from March of 2020 to June of 2020 was sort of like a fast forward of if kids were failing, they would just moved on. If kids were struggling, they say, well, hey, have a good day, because due to the fact virtual, even though it was there, it wasn't really sort of, as you would say, required. There was a lot of absence kids at MIA. Internet was for the have and have nots. And things were going in an actual spiral on a constant basis. Fast forward to the fall of 2020, we had a thing where we had virtual and in person going at the same time. You had the ones that were still MIA, virtual, the ones that were in person, trying to rock it out, and teachers doing two things at once. We talk like we're talking right now, and I got people in class at a full scale. At that time, kids were then held accountable, but then there was still a push, still moving forward. In some cases, when we get to the high school, you pump the brakes, hit the stop button. Now, fast forward now to 2021, we are saying you the virtual or you're all in. But in this situation, the problem is people are fighting over things of mask and vaccinated, non-vaccinated. There's so many things going on. So with your personal opinion, how could we make education in your personal scope great again? How can we get our students back on track in your personal opinion?
To piggyback off what you said about last year, and virtual, non-virtual, that was like, and I'm an art teacher. I used to teach social studies. I'm an artist also. So I think the transition for me 3 years ago going into art, like my days are light years faster. It's easier and I felt better. But given last year, like you say, around March, boom, hey, we about to go on spring break. They was like, hey, when y'all get back, it ain't really gonna be back. When y'all get to, we couldn't even go back in the building. So they was just like, whatever you can get it. We ain't coming back. And pretty much it's the whole virtual thing that was new for me. Zoom, whoever owned Zoom, listen, he got it. It went crazy because of the situation of our school went out, the district went out and gave like families without internet, they gave them hotspots. So that was easier in a sense. But at the end of the day, man, them kids, their parents either had to work, some work nights. So it was real hard for them to, you go to school, you getting pushed by a teacher, culture, friends, and then you like the whole traditional school experience to excel. But then you at home. You in your living quarters, like them kids either doing that, they eating while we teaching, and you kind of at a 50-50 split. You on both sides of the fence. I'm at home. I'm in basketball shorts. Y'all can't see me. I got food over here. I might turn my video off, eat something while I got something going on. And it's almost like those kids can either be engaged or disengaged. And matters who the teacher is. It matters how the core subject is, whether they care or not. Like the 8th graders, instead of they flip that and have those kids at the older kids at the end, they started them out with early. And I'm like, that's wrong. Those kids don't want to get up. Them kids gonna get up like 12. So you put them at the end, but the little kids, they up, they running. And by the time they get to us, just like throughout the day, they don't want to be nowhere. They want to go to sleep. They done. So that was the hardest transition for me, because these kids don't have what I have in the classroom. You know, I teach downtown Indianapolis. So a lot of these kids, and the word homeless, a lot of these kids are homeless, not actually without a home. It's just they might stay with their auntie. They might stay at a shelter. They might stay with a family member. These kids don't have a home. In that sense, you got a lot of kids going through a lot of stuff that can't focus, that can't comprehend, because they're thinking about, I need to eat. I got to do this. I got to do that. All of that stuff is a factor. And a lot of people don't pay that attention. They think it's just, oh, this kid got an attitude because he don't like me. No, that kid might ain't eat last night. That kid might be alert, like they might don't even like the breakfast we serve, but they got to eat it anyway, and they still not full. So fast forward to June, it's like, all right, now they figuring out what's going on. So last year when we came back, we had to have professional development in the gym. So they spread it out. You got teachers 10, 12 feet apart, mask on, teachers, principal, head leader talking through the mic, and you kind of, you had to circumvent through that. So it's almost like it was crazy, but it was effective. So then when we got into school, it went from, okay, we here. And they was talking about masks, and they was talking about, you know what? Go back home, virtual. And it's like, all right, come back. Oh, case is driving up again, go back home. You know what? We're going to shut it down for like a month. We come back, and then it was just like, boom, nope, y'all go back home. We shutting it down until, I say February. No, I think it was January. Then when we got back, the kids had to just be in their classroom. So they couldn't travel to specials. Like even the middle schoolers, they had to do bathroom breaks with the class. And it was just like, they was not with that. Because, you know, you usually can just send 1 or 2 of them out, they come back. So I had to take a cart around. I had to plan like that. I'm like, dog, I don't want to do this. I was so disgruntled, man. I was just like, but at the end of the day, as disgruntled as you can be, you still not worried about you. You worried about the kids. So at the end of the day, it's almost like hard and easy at the same time, because you go into these kids' classes, then you trying to figure out, okay, how much time I got to clean some of this stuff? How much stuff I got to set to the side because it wasn't clean? Do I have time to go back and switch? Do I have to get a double cart? Do I have to get a cart with two levels? And music, PE, they travel to PE. That's the thing that had me bothered. It's like they go to PE, but they can't come to me. And we had so much hand sanitizer, wipes, napkins. That was I say that's probably one of the most, like probably the fastest transition. It was the cleaning and the maintenance. And we were so, the small things matter. Like the smallest things matter, because if we don't have that, we don't have the cleaning staff, the janitorial staff that we have. I don't think we even come back to school. And we had to, the way the classes started being set up, a lot of classes had tables, because you want the kids to be involved with each other. Nope, they moved them tables. They took the rugs out of the kindergarten classrooms. Like, it was anything that can suck up anything like cloth, gone. And it was like rooms looked bare. And it was just like, you looking at these kids, you seen, like you said, the ones that are home, they ain't really paying attention. And then you got to hey, you got to explain this to them, or you got to see if they here looking. And then it's like, sometimes you just be like, you know what? Whatever, dog. If you're going to pay attention, you're going to pay attention. Because I know you can hear me. I can hear you. If you got a question, raise your hand or tap in. And it's like those kids at home are still in their own settlement. Like they're in their own environment. So they don't care about it. Because guess what? They probably learned from the news, or a parent or a cousin or a friend at another school, like, man, they're going to pass us anyway. And it's just like, damn, if you telling kids that, or kids know that, like I tell people all the time, these kids ain't dumb. These kids ain't dumb at all. Y'all think a kid is lazy, they dumb? No, they not. They're not. A lot of time these are internet kids. These are internet kids. The internet kids don't use the internet. I don't get it. Imagine us at 12 with FaceTime. I'm 35. Imagine me you can FaceTime multiple people. I wouldn't fail anything. The homie that I know that gonna do the work, I get out of football practice and I'm like, yo, what we got? How to do this? They don't do that at all. They got Zoom. They got Snapchat. Snapchat was like the first thing I seen that had multiple, you can get multiple people in there. And I'm like, y'all don't use that. Every answer is on the internet. So if you go home, to be honest, sometimes I don't even care if you go home and look on the internet. Because guess what? It's there. Now, can you explain it to me? I don't know. But if you're doing it, because effort comes in all different shapes and sizes. Cheating is an effort. You got it done. I don't know if you cheated or not. But if you're honest about it, I don't know. But at the same time, if you do it or try it, and at least look like you do it and it's still wrong, I'm happy about it because you tried it. And that's what I grade off of artwork, like effort. I don't care if you can't. And a lot of times my principals ask me, why don't you practice a lot of proximity? Because these kids look up to me as like I'm great. And I don't want to be around them because they automatically think I'm gonna judge their work because they think it's ugly. And I think that's a lot of times that starts at home. Like these kids need to learn, like, hey, if you get something wrong, somebody gonna tell you something. And in order for you to make somebody looking over your work feel comfortable about you doing it, be confident in what you're doing. Like, it doesn't matter if it's wrong, but at least I know you trying to do it. But parents sometimes not there. You got 9-year-olds are the man of the house sometimes, or girls that are the second in command that are 9, 10 years old. And that stuff messes up education too. It's these jobs. It's the whole fact that somebody can't be at home. You got kids that are raising babies while their parents at work at night so they can get there in the morning to get their kids ready for school. A lot of bad education is also coming from the country not evolving with the times. A lot of these kids don't want to read books. I learned this teaching social studies. I used to print off everything. because I worked at this charter school in Indianapolis. And I noticed that they didn't really want it. Like, they wasn't attracted to the work. So I said, you know what? I started getting books. I started looking into how to get more books. And as soon as they saw colors, the wording, how the words look different, it was attractive. So I'm thinking, can we not issue, could the government at least issue out iPads or Kindles, something, or even my friend in Oklahoma City, her daughter goes to some school where they work from computers all day. Now everybody like, oh, they shouldn't be. I'm like, dude, the biggest misconception, misconception that I learned was video games. They had a study on that. Video games doesn't hamper a kid. It works on all eye coordination, comprehension, hand speed. It works on all of that. Because when I seen the research, I was like, that's crazy when you think about it. Because a kid is thinking of a next move. So in the time spent you thinking of a next move, guess what comes again? Another move. So when they thinking about that and they doing it, it's almost like the first thing I bring up when a kid is like, oh, I can't do this. And I said, tell me your favorite rap song. And they can tell me that. What's the first 8 bars? They rap first 8 bars. I said at 8 years old, you probably couldn't do that with your song now that you have lyrical content because you didn't understand. You just like the chorus and the beat. But I said, you understand that now. I said, that goes hand in hand with education. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2x minus 6, open parentheses, 6 times 8. You can do that because it's transitioning. But now it's almost at a sense where everything is kind of book curriculum pushed instead of being taught at a sense where it's relatable. A lot of times the kids love my class because I try to relate to them. I talk to them about stuff. It's almost if a kid feels comfortable, they feel better. But you don't want a kid to feel too comfortable to like you enough to not do something because they think you like them enough to push them to get by. You can't do that. A lot of teachers do that because they don't want to deal with certain kids. A lot of teachers do that because they don't even want to deal with their own classroom. But at the end of the day, I'm serious, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's always like, oh, because I compare teachers and cops to the same. We are basically underpaid to do something that's strenuous, stressful, and all amazing at the same time. And could you imagine somebody 23 making 75,000 to teach kindergarten? And a person 22, 23, they can buy what they want. And all they got to do is do lesson plans, come in and be fake happy. Like, but at a sense, I think teachers should start off 50, 60, easy. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if restorative or not. You are the biggest babysitter in the world. I don't care what you say. But it's the great thing about it is you're probably going to be one of the best. If you do your job correctly, you will be one of the best remembered babysitters of all time. Because I had the kids that so dope, knew how to shoot guns, run into them in Walmart. They running up hugging me. I'm like, oh, you hugging people now, and it's you feel that. And I think the biggest thing that is missing in education is pretty much the chance for teachers to actually be human beings instead of robots too. Like if we get a chance to actually get into it and actually, hey, you doing this wrong, but hey, come talk to me for a minute. A lot of teachers don't do that. They're disconnected from relationships. And you kind of want to go away from being a friend to a kid because they're taking advantage of that. But at the same time, you still need that because growing up, yeah, it was teachers I didn't like, but it wasn't a question I couldn't ask. It wasn't a, and my mom worked at my school, so I couldn't do nothing. I've seen my first report card probably third grade. She was a secretary, so I'm just like, no, I can't do nothing. But it was still, all right, if I get in trouble, they call a parent. Nowadays it's different. You call a parent, you might get cussed out. And it's just like, this your kid. This your kids. And that goes along with the wrong things in education. It's just like, it starts from home. Because that was my comment on that post. I'm like, dog, these kids ain't stupid. And they really not bad. They get away from home and think, I'm at home. This don't apply to me when I get in. That don't apply to me when I get in. I'm like, dog, you still around grown-ups. You still around other people that gonna look at you crazy because a lot of the stuff you don't agree to. A lot of times you don't agree with the parents because they think their kids are golden, and that's fine. But I had a kid top stairs. He spit on another kid. Like it sounded like this. And I'm like, and talked to the mom, and she was like, he wouldn't do. I'm like, lady, I watched. He's the only kid at the top of the stairs. He still was looking down with the drool hanging, and he literally didn't deny it. He didn't argue. He just knew he was in trouble, and I was just like, wow. Y'all really are like that. And that was my first year teaching up here. And when circulating now, I've been here 7 years, and you see the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, duh. And the older parents are different. Like the parents 45 and up, they're different. They're like, yeah, we need to talk. We have a meeting. And then you got some parents that only come to the school when their kid get in trouble, a fight, or we giving food or clothing out. It's just like that's not what we need. Mm-hmm. And if we call you, we're kind of depending on you to be that bridge between your kid and us. Because I think that's number one. That's why education is losing its footing, is because of home life. Not only what you have, but what you have as a parent. What you have around you. Like I tell you, these kids are internet babies. They love to be on the internet. They love the circumstances of looking at certain people and being happy about their favorite person doing something. Or they get caught up in arguing about video games or TV. And it's just like, come back. You still got to wake up at 6. You still got to come here and you still got to learn. I understand. Wait till lunch, recess, or wait till you get like a little gray area to talk about something after you finish. And got a kid at school. His name is Bryson. Leader. I'm talking about leader. And he's a fighter, but it's almost like it's something lost as far as he don't think adults respect him. And it's just like, it's not that. We see potential and you keep burning it. Like, it's almost like you can build him a house of potential and he goes outside and like, well, gasoline cans, whatever, dog. And you build him another one and he does it over and over. And I think that he's getting older now. I've been with him 3 years and I can see him changing because he doesn't cuss as much. He doesn't crack a lot of jokes. I think he's seeing the wear and tear of not knowing a lot because you don't want to pay attention. And he's seeing other students excel and he's drifting. And he don't want that. So I told him the other day, like, we have this, I have an all boy art class. but we had a girl that's transitioning to a he, wants to be called Maddox, and it threw everything off because me being a male, we have these male conversations, and I appreciate it because I'm learning too. I'm learning how to say certain things or not say certain things. I'm learning how pronouns and stuff like that, but it's hard as hell because it's hard. Like I'm not around those certain people. I'm not around that group, and it's hard. I respect everything about it, but it's just hard for, because me and one of my coworkers got into it about it because I'm not around her. I didn't teach middle school last year, the upper middle school last year, and she was a new teacher, and it was hard to, like, I say she or her, but I'm not doing it vindictively or just trying to be petty. That's just how I see her as a woman from the external extent. But me being around her now, I kind of like say them or they, and it's just like, oh, you actually got to be around them to actually learn it. And we got into it because one of my teachers threw me under the bus because I said, because it was something that happened and it was like weird, and we was all joking, and I was just like, yeah, she did that. And the one girl was like, hey, you keep saying the wrong pronoun. I was like, why you say keep like I continue? I'm like, what are you talking about? And she got mad, and I was just like, dog, why would you do that? And I apologized before she even said it. I said, my bad. I said, I'm sorry. But she still threw me under the bus. So with that, I had to talk to the young man because he just got in my class because something happened with him in another class and he got put over in my class. And he was saying dyke and faggot. And I'm like, Bryson, I got to holler at you after class. He was like, why? And I explained to him. And if this was 2 years ago, he'd been like, man, I don't care. Nobody, blah, blah. He was like, I got you. Came in today, cool as jets. He was just chilling, man. Like, that's his growth for me, his behavior. Now that we getting that in line, it's like now you push everything else. And then I think his sister is another one we got to get to a point because she think because it's the pandemic happened, she don't really have to do anything. And she's a fighter also. And it's just like, dog, y'all got to chill out. Now, another thing is, well, two, government. Me seeing that, I don't remember her name, but they paid that lady with no educational experience, Secretary of Education, like they gave her all that money. Then she started taking money. And I'm just like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all taking education away, funding, and then y'all look at us like we're not supposed to be upset, or certain people that's not supposed to be upset. And I thought about it the other day. I'm in a comfortable position, but I still can say something. I'm in a comfortable position. I shouldn't settle. I'm in a comfortable position. I still should let people know, hey, voice your concerns. Be upset. Like, look at all the things around you. And then I think, lastly, I don't know. I do think male teachers are coming more and more. We're becoming more and more involved. We're becoming more and more as a not even an accessible thing. Because remember, it was let me see if I can name. Mr. Spinagle was my elementary art teacher. He had a wooden leg and a hole in his back. I remember him. Great art teacher. Mr. Ryan. He had like a bad foot, but he was super cool. All my PE teachers were men. Coach Pippin, Coach Pond, Coach Pace, which he married my first grade teacher assistant.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mr. Gant, Mr. Porter. Mr. Porter taught all four of my siblings, which is crazy.
Definitely.
And I don't remember anybody else. And I think 4, respect. A lot of teachers don't get a lot of respect from kids. And that's another thing that we talked about also on that post. It's almost like we don't get the respect from kids.
Wow.
Because it starts where? Home. That goes right back to one. And at the end of the day, I don't care who the kid is. I try to relate to him. I try to talk to him. I've had kids cuss me out. I had kids swing on me. All because it's like, it ain't me. I know it's not me. You mad at something else. And I don't even look for an apology because this is a kid. I teach kindergarten through 8th grade. I've taught high school. High school is probably the funnest thing I taught because those kids accept accountability. I don't care what school you teach at. 60 to 75% of the school going to accept accountability on their own terms. Now you do have those spoiled kids, or you have the parents that definitely taking the kid's side, and having a mom like mine that she probably took until I got to high school to finally was like, all right, I believe you. It was like, I've been trying to tell you this. I don't want you to fully take my side, but give me the benefit of the doubt that I didn't tell my art teacher to shut up and I'm in the front row. It's like, give me that. And then when it got to a point where they kept calling her for stupid stuff, she, Miss Curtsy, my 8th grade teacher, my English teacher, I got her threw some in the trash. I'm a dial 100 to the office and call Miss Broughton. I was fed up at the time. Call her. I said, call her. She called her, put her on speakerphone. Kids looking at me like, oh. I'm like, then in my head, back of my head, I'm like, damn, you dummy. Why the hell you tell her to call? I'm like, damn. My mom answers like, hello, Ms. Broughton. And she's like, well, Ms. Broughton, Scotty's in here, blah, blah, blah. They call me Scotty. And my mom was like, if you can't handle your class, you need to quit. Bow. Hung up on her. Kids was like, she told you. And I'm just like, and I felt better. But at the same time, I still got why Miss Curtsy was the way she was. Because it was a lot of us like that. I wasn't mischievous, but I didn't get caught doing stupid stuff in class. And that's why I tell the kids now. I was an athlete. I knew everybody. My brother went to the NFL when I was 12 years old. So my family is known. And I'm like, dog, I still wasn't a nerd. And I still wasn't acting super cool. I was social. You still can be cool without being bad or trying to draw attention to yourself. And a lot of the kids ask all the time, you ever got arrested? You ever ran for the cops? I'm like, dog, why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? No, I haven't been arrested. Yes, I ran from cops before because I get scared too. I said the same thing that's going on now. Same thing happened in the 90s. Same thing happened in 2000. We did dumb stuff, but we didn't want to get caught. I knew I wasn't going to jail for the stupid stuff we did, but I'm not about to get caught. It's a historical thing. We're Black. And I tell them a lot of times, it's a respect thing. It's like they ask me a lot, like like my why. Why am I a teacher? They ask that all the time, and I think every teacher should have a why. But sometimes we forget our why because that why can get recycled with another why or pushed out the way with another why. My why is pretty much I waited till my junior year to act like I didn't care anymore. Like I wasn't being recruited for basketball. I just started playing football the year before, and it was just girls. We had to bus to school. So I got to practice basketball, football. We had activity bus, so we wait on other people. That's an hour and a half ride home, dropping kids off. So I'm getting home 9, 10 o'clock and got to get up at 5:30. So I'm like, you tired, man. Like it's all of that stuff. I tell the kids all the time, it's like you have to understand, like being like it's just stuff you didn't want to do. I didn't want to do my work. I thought about it, and that's why I say these kids in the internet era. We was in the TV era, so everything on TV we thought was, you didn't have anybody debunking anything until about 2003, 4 when the internet started stretching, and I was just like, I don't care no more. I know somebody gonna do the work. I'm gonna do the work. But then you start getting these classes where it's like AP classes. You was put in the regular class, or you didn't take the AP classes because you like, I'm take the SATs. I'm going to school, and my why is pretty much I don't want to see these kids do what I did because I'm easily for a 4-year athlete, easy, because I wanted to go to Clemson. Ohio State was recruiting me. South Carolina, I had probably 5, 6 ACC schools, but I screwed myself. My coach, high school coach, was on the '81 Clemson team. And it's like, dude, you connected. My brother went to Furman University. That's like damn near Ivy League. He graduated summa cum laude and got drafted to the NFL. He's the second player ever to get drafted out of there. And it's just like, sheesh, you got all this attention and like you screwed yourself. And I tell these kids all the time, but I went to junior college, I gained my scholarship after the semester. Ended up with a 3.2. Got recruited by like 5, 6 different schools. Ended up at Oklahoma State. Then I got lazy again because that's a job in itself, and we don't get paid. Can't really work because you don't have no time. And me being an artist, I hated school. Like I hated school. I drew on everything. Scantrons, had to redo Scantrons all the time. I found like 5 or 6 notebooks from 4th grade. It's drawings everywhere. And I tell the kids all the time, it's just like, as much as I hated school, I didn't want to disappoint my parents. And that's another thing that they don't look at. That's why I bring up respect. A lot of these kids look at their parents like, okay, that's my mom gonna take my side, or my mom ain't gonna care, or my mom ain't gonna see it, or they ain't really gonna check. And it's just like, some of them are right. Some of them are right. But I think the pandemic threw a lot of stuff off because of the simple fact that we can't step on the gas as much because of that year. Like you see the college kids get that year back, which is amazing. But these are not at least with these middle school and high school kids, you have the schools in the suburbs with the better educational outlook like resources, teachers, environment. Then you got the middle tier public schools they got most of the stuff, but they don't have all of it. Then you got the charter schools and like the schools in the hood that they get the recycle stuff, or they get the older technology. And I got teachers. I know teachers that teach in those suburb area or the bigger schools, and they said the push didn't stop. They said the push didn't stop. They said parents were annoyed because they're like, in the pandemic, it's like you're another reason. Like, no, you don't. No, you still want that to be effective.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and it's then when it comes down to the bottom, they let it go. The parents like pandemic.
Well, you pretty much, Mr. Broughton, has pretty much answered everything that we need to talk about, and hitting all homers with it. And we pray that every teacher who's watching, every person that's watching, that you're taking this time serious to understand that there is a need for the village and everyone working together as community. I want you all to support what teachers are doing in education. Let's make education great again. Let's make our community great again. And I want y'all to keep watching, keep tuning. Hey, that's all the time I got. My name is Calvin Lowe, the Logan Power Show. But before I go, one more thing.
And I got one more thing. To everybody that's listening, to every teacher, IA, principal, anybody becoming a teacher, anything that you disagree with, I understand. Anything that you agree with, I understand. Everything you're not as sure about, from what I've said, I understand. But everybody has a different experience. And anything y'all comment or say, I'm not going to be bothered. This is what I teach my kids. This is an effort thing. If you have any advice, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram is Scotty McFly, SCOTTEMCFLY_. I take any advice. I take any feedback. I will appreciate everything. So, and pretty much appreciate you for having me on. Whatever you doing, dog, big ups to you, and appreciate you again for having me on.
No problem. Again, I appreciate you. And from one to another, let's keep the fight. And for everyone who's watching, let's keep our faith together. So this is all the time I got. My name is Kyle, the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide. We love y'all, and we'll see you soon.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.